Red versus blue. Who is right? Who is wrong? I'm wearing a red shirt in order to tell you that red is judgment. We know that. We see it in Russia. We see it in China. We see the behavior that those particular countries have towards their citizens. And we see the behavior the Republican Party has towards women and towards their citizens. So some people may totally disagree and say that the Republican Party cares for its citizens. But for me, with the choice of the presidential candidate and the way he speaks, full of judgment, it is a very clear, obvious choice that he is a red candidate. Now, when you look at blue, what is blue? Blue is Israel. Blue is the soul. Blue is a color aligned to mercy. So, and one of the major complaints to the Republicans is that, gosh, if they're so merciful, then it's going to be communism, and it's going to be everybody's going to have to share with everybody, and nobody's going to be the same, and it's going to be like China or Russia, and that have that communist kind of mentality. And I have studied Ayn Rand. Now, if you are not familiar with Rand, and I actually was a Republican. Yes, I was a Republican for a really long time up until Donald Trump came into office, and I decided, you know what, nah, it's okay, I'm done. And just because of the various choices that the Republican Party was making, but on the color alone and the choices being made against the American people, I would have to say that the Republican Party is the most communist party. And a lot of people may not agree with that and think, no, they want free capitalism and they want less taxes and all that good stuff. But when you look at the behavior towards the actual people, the children in cages, women, whether you agree, whether you're pro life or against choice, or whether you're pro life or pro choice, they are removing a choice of that person. Now, some people are like, "That's death." I was like, "Yeah, but it's still the spiritual element of choice, whether it's bad or whether it's good." And so you start to see the Republican Party trying to control its citizens, trying to have them do specific things, and then you see in the voter what is it, suspension or voter, like how the voter like, I forget the word. Let me know in the comments. Suppression, voter suppression, and all those elements of the shifting things around, the handling of the virus, the handling of farmers, the handling of the whole situation with China and the economy, and the way the president speaks about himself constantly, constantly ridiculing the states where he's actually rallying for, saying, I would have never gone to the state, but, now I have to. And for me, it started with the Mexican comment, and everybody knows what that comment was. And everything was just a landslide of that. Of course, it was just an of course, of course, of course. And then it got crazier and crazier, and it was just to the point where, like, injecting bleach, and it's just, it was just madness. I knew that it was a snowball, but I didn't realize the many colors of the snowball. you know? And it got to a point where it wasn't funny. The comedians making jokes about it, it just was not funny because, the handling of America, the way we are perceived to the world, the way other people see us was just atrocious. It was, but in a sense, it was kind of beautiful. As Americans, we're not perfect. We have been terrorists to a lot of nations in various different ways. And some people say, no. Well, we have been, if you look at history. And some people say, voter fraud, voter fraud. How many times did the United States go in and, have things switched around in order to have power in that particular country? So there's an element of karma, And I laugh because it's funny. The whole universe and people playing chess with lives and whatnot. In a way, you kind of have to laugh at it because it's so sadistic and sad that it, that whole Joker element where it's just like if you don't laugh, you're gonna go crazy. You know, you got to find some kind of humor in the atrocity. I guess I don't know. So it's what calms me down. So, yeah, I think that for me, I'm voting blue. And I'm voting blue because of mercy. And I've read Ayn Rand and I was a Republican and all that good stuff. And I do think that there's some really credible, like, bread of shame when you give when you give something to someone that they have not earned, eventually that person's going to come to resent you because their soul knows that they're supposed to earn it. So all those secrets, and the Republicans have a certain grasp on that certain understanding that we can't just go around be giving away stuff for free for everyone. It gets to the point where people are like, healthcare is a right. I don't think that healthcare is a right. I know. Yeah, I'm going to get a lot of slack for that. I think that you have the right to the pursuit of your own happiness, but I don't think that healthcare is a right. Yeah. A liberal Democrat saying that healthcare is not a right. Why isn't it a right? A right is basically, it means that it requires somebody else to be there in order to provide that right for you. So, in many ways, it's saying we have to have slaves. We have to have slave doctors in order to take care of your health. Yeah, we have to force people to take care of your health at the spiritual level. Now, it's nice, of course, a beautiful, wonderful world where we could all have health and immortality and everything would be wonderful, but not at the expense of enslaving people, right? That's some of the philosophical, spiritual questions that we have. In the meantime, but we have to balance that in this world. So, do we get rid of the Affordable Care Act? Do we get rid of all the Obamacare and all those things? Because if we do, people are going to die. Well, no, we don't because we don't want people to die. But at the same time, we have to have that sense of understanding that we can't, that nothing is free. Nothing, nothing is free. That everything costs something. So, what do you think about all those controversial questions that I have posed for you? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Either way, I want to wish you a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful eternity.